Hi, so for my first video, I wanted to create some cabinets of curiosities. There are shelves where you expose rare or unusual objects. That can be some precious stones, shells, insects, or other things like that. I have my personal cabinet of curiosities, and I like to gather everything that I can find everywhere. My mom gave me a bunch of desk organizers, and they reminded me of the old printer's drawers. I wanted to recreate this little cabinet of curiosities that I found on Pinterest. They have the printer's drawer as a base, and since I like to recycle stuff, I thought that I could use these trays and give them another life. The first thing I need to do is to sand the plastic to give the glue something to grab on. The trays were washed and dried. I used wood glue mixed with water to cover them with newspaper. I just made a bunch of scraps, like 1,000, and make sure that the plastic was no longer visible on each of the 5 organizers. And I'll skip most of it because it's really not interesting.
2,000 years later.
And here they are, completely covered and completely dried, finally. Now it's time to paint them. I used different colors for each one. I wanted them to have a earthy, witchy vibe look, so I used mostly dark colors. At first, I was supposed to create the attach before painting, but there we go because I forgot. Since the plastic was too thin for a screw, I had to come up with another idea for the wool clip. I started by drilling some holes to put a strong thread through, and additional smaller holes for the heavier objects since the glue might not be enough to hold them. For the wool attach itself, I put the thread into the hole, then into a bead, and come back into the hole. The bead secures everything and it is stronger than a simple knot. I tied the thread on the back and there it is. And don't mind my sweater, it's super comfortable even though the look might be questionable.
Okay.
Okay. I just need to paint on the bead and on the thread. Now that my hanging system is done, I'm back to painting. Okay, so I finished every organizer, 5 of them, and the back is also dry brushed. Just need to clean the mat. I wish it was that easy and I didn't need to scrape the paint like my life was depending on it. Anyways, I sealed everything with matte varnish. Alright, so here comes the fun part. Being a huge fan of cabinets of curiosities, I always gather everything that I can find, meaning that I have a lot of unused pieces. And today they will find a place to go. I found everything at flea markets, in my garden, or in nature. It's a bit of a mess since I often work on several projects at once, but you'll get used to it. Each of the cabinets of curiosities have a theme. The first one is the witchy hut. I filled it with pieces that could be in a witch shelf, including natural elements, magical stones, the key to her lair, a lot of ingredients flasks, and some small animals' bones. While I was at it, I struggled to put some wires in the holes I previously made and tie them at the back of the stay. I had some hard time with each wire. Then I hot glued the end so it doesn't stop the walls. Alright, the first cabinet is almost done. Next comes the one I called What's in the Ocean? I don't know, I don't have a real name for it. If you have any suggestions, I'm all ears. This time I started by installing the heavier stuff that needed the wire support and glued the end of the pointy wires. Of course, when you hear ocean, you think about shells. So I have a lot of different shells to add to this cabinet. A small fossilized ammonite. I also have some of these small papers that I added for the color. I have this big shell that here in France we call a couteau, but apparently they are called solen. I happen to have this fake antique cameo brooch, and I think they always add a little more history. My mom also bought me some sea urchins she found at a flea market. Yeah, she's really nice. So I used them here. I found this crab shell on a beach, but since it was pretty fragile, I filled it with hot glue in order to make it sturdier. These big black shapes are some seaweeds that my parents brought me. I added a lizard and some crab claws. And for final touch-ups, I added some fishnet-looking fabrics and desaturated moss. We'll do the next one at a steadier pace. I mostly glued on dried flowers. I added some animal elements that reminded me of birth instead of death. So this one is called Living. It has some gears, a key, tree barks, dry orchids and hyacinth, not sure of the pronunciation. For the animal part, we have a snakeskin, an egg, and a wasp's nest. Brace yourself, only 2 more to do. Same as the other cabinets, I started by placing the heavier objects. Once you have a general idea about what to put in a cabinet of curiosities, it is really just finding what you like and assembling it. For this one, I wanted to go with the fairy theme. I imagined a small creature gathering what they could find and thought that could be useful for a house. Dried fruit with an empty shell to use as dishes, or even small bones as tools, and overall simple decorations. That, my friends, the 4th cabinet is done. Okay, let's repeat the steps. Put the wire, glue on the back, and add stuff. This one is my personal favorite. It has mostly animal-related pieces. My cat hunts a lot, so we often have some dead mice or rats. I also find animals on the road that unfortunately didn't make it until the other side. Keeping them and using them in my art is for me a way to give them another life, and I personally think that the bones, feathers and other parts are really beautiful. I also found artists that use small animal purrs to turn them into jewelry. It might not be everyone's taste, I know, but still I like the idea. So I kept some legs and added them to this cabinet. You can't really see it in the video, but I filled the flask with a dragonfly wing my grandma gave me. My entire family knows about my weird hobby and they help me with what they find at home. I am really thankful that they are open-minded about it. I finally finished the 5 cabinets. I added some moss and other finishing touches out of camera, and here they are. But the thing is that I can't really keep them because first, it takes a lot of space, and second, I already have my own collection. So I will be uploading them on my Etsy shop. I really hope you liked the video. Thank you for watching.